I remember The Simpsons used to be good. I remember watching one of their recent episodes years ago, and it's just not funny anymore. Also, do you guys have any funny comedy shows you can recommend? I can't keep watching The Office or Community or Parks and Rec, so comment down below your favorite comedy shows and what you recommend, and I'll see if I watch it. Mr. Spakru! Mr. Spakru! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a comparison video. I've gotten a lot of direct messages about which one of these cameras I should get or you should get. Now I have both these cameras, so this is coming from my own experiences, and I'm going to share my thoughts having spent a significant amount of time with both cameras. Okay, let's go. So before we begin, I would like to say that both of these cameras share the same sensor. That means they're going to take the same photograph, so no image coming from one camera is going to be sharper or better than the other. For stills, both are on the same playing field, but let's get on to the differences. The first thing I noticed right away when I held the XS10 was how tiny this thing is and the deep grip. This feels so much nicer in the hands to hold. I really enjoy this grip a lot. This is way better than the ergonomics from the XT4. The PASM dial is on the XS10, whereas the XT4 has the traditional ISO shutter speed dials. If you guys are new to Fujifilm, the PASM dial is going to feel familiar to you guys, but if you guys are used to the Fujifilm XT2 and the XT3, the PASM dial is going to be annoying for you. It's annoying for me as I am so accustomed to how my XT4 works. I find the handling of it is not so smooth and seamless on the XS10. We also have one memory card slot on the XS10, whereas the XT4 has two. So if you're someone that needs two card slot holders for backup, I would recommend the XT4. I don't mind the one card slot on the XS10 because of its form factor. I'm pretty sure it's not able to fit a dual memory card slot, and if it did, I think it would have drove the price up a bit more. You know, I remember there was a time where we all had single card slots and we were able to make images with it just fine. So again, I feel like we've been spoiled over the years. The XS10 is not weather sealed, whereas the XT4 is. Again, making the XT4 the more prosumer to professional camera. If you're a landscape photographer, travel photographer, and you're doing adventurous things, and you're just out in not so ideal weather all the time, the XT4 is clutch in this situation. I would prefer my cameras to be weather resistant than having no weather resistance. However, my time with my XS10 going out to shoot portraits, you know, I didn't think that I needed something like the WR, but when I took this XS10 to the Bahamas, I was near ocean water, I was near the beach a lot, I was close to the sands, and it was humid and hot while I was there. So in that situation, the thought of having something weather sealed did cross my mind. So I was careful of it when I took my camera out, but besides that, I would say that I didn't have any dust or sand enter into my XS10, so I was satisfied. The XS10 does feel a bit cheaper compared to the XT4. When you pick it up, it does feel a bit plasticky and hollow. And again, I didn't think the plastic hollow feeling of the XS10 hindered my shooting experience. If anything, I do enjoy the handling of the XS10 a bit more than the XT4 because of that deep hand grip provided by the XS10. The ergonomics just feel a bit better on the XS10, and because of how hollow it is, I find myself to be more fluid with my shooting style and my movements, and you know, I can move more freely with the XS10. The XS10 uses the dreaded NPW126S battery. That's the battery I really don't like on the X100V or the Fujifilm XT3. The Fujifilm XT4 uses the newer batteries, which gives you a better battery life for shooting stills and recording videos. But in my time using the XS10, I didn't find the battery life to be as annoying as other cameras. Maybe it's because the Fujifilm XS10 isn't power intensive as the XT3 or the X100V. You know, we're talking about the bright EVF and the sharp back screen. When I am out on a portrait shoot, it's usually 2 to 4 hours of shooting, and I find myself finishing one full battery during that time and, you know, coming out with like 500 to 800 shots. And this is me just using continuing autofocusing and continuous burst shots at shot at 5 frames per second. And again, your mileage may vary depending on how you shoot. But for me, I find one battery is good enough to get me through a shoot. Just keep spares just in case. The XS10 is the stills camera with the occasional vlogging when I don't have the XT4 on me. Once I start recording just a bit of video into it, the first battery will die out for sure. Both have an LCD flip out screen, but the XT4 is clear and sharper. I prefer the back LCD screen on the XT4 as well. While I was out shooting with the XS10 in the Bahamas on a bright, sunny, warm day, I find it hard to use my LCD screen. I always had to cover it from the sun, and the EVF on the XS10 is also not as bright and sharp like the XT4. I guess you can say that I am spoiled by the XT4. If you're coming from the XT3 and you're going to use the XS10, you're going to see a drop in quality of the back screen and the EVF. So it's up to you if you are able to tolerate this or not. Both of these cameras have image stabilization, but the XT4 has 6.5 stops of IBIS, whereas the XS10 has 5 stops of IBIS. But in real life usage, I'd say that the 1.5 extra stop is negligible. One thing I like to point out on the XS10 is the dedicated ISO button. Me personally, I am so used to the XT4, so I hate using this button. It really slows down my shooting process because of my muscle memory. Again, this camera isn't targeted to me. It's all about the bottom line at the end of the day. Fujifilm is in the business of making money, so Fujifilm is casting a wide net trying to lure the folks that are used to the traditional PASM dials. Although they have the same sensor, they have different video specs. The Fujifilm XS10 records 4K 30 frames per second versus the Fujifilm XT4, which is 4K 60. The Fujifilm XS10 records in f-log, but only in 8-bit, whereas the XT4 can do 10-bit. But if you want to get 10-bit on the XS10, you're going to need to use an external monitor like the Ninja V to use that. And both are able to record 240 frames per second at full HD. Although the XS10 doesn't have the 4K 60 or the 10-bit, I find what is inside the XS10 at that price point a way better value than the XT4, which makes the XS10 a great camera for people starting their photography/video journey. It fills out almost everything you would need to get started. Me personally, I like using both cameras for two different things. I like the XS10 for its small form factor, the deeper hand grip, and because of this, I find my XS10 more of an extension of me when I shoot. I noticed this when I was shooting with the GFX100S. That thing slowed me down quite a lot during the shoot, so then I stopped using it and switched back to the XS10, where I felt more free and I was able to get more shots, and I was able to get the angles that I couldn't get because of its smaller size. I could crouch down better, I could aim high. Wherever I was pointing that camera, I felt the XS10 was a part of my body, as cheesy as it may sound. Both cameras are targeted towards different people. The XS10 is for the beginner enthusiast, the ones who are thinking about getting something higher quality than their smartphones, the content creators that are just starting out, whereas the XT4 is more for the prosumers to professionals that require the dual card slots, that require the 4K 60p 10-bit, the weather sealing. Both cameras take the same still images, like high-end images, by the way. So if you're someone that is just starting out on your photography journey, the XS10 is the best value for your buck. I truly believe that. It was even great that Fujifilm even put f-log into the camera, as I don't think people starting out on this camera would know anything about log profiles or how to color grade it. So they give you more than plenty to get you started. But again, for me and what I would use is totally different than what you need it for and what you would use it for. I would use my XS10 for photography and traveling. I'm not going anywhere extreme or anything like that, so I don't need the weather sealing. And I'm going to assume that you guys are smart enough to put your cameras away whenever there's like a heavy rainfall, or whenever you're near water, whenever you're near a volcano. I just like how small it is, and it just packs away so neatly in my camera bag. It was very refreshing for me to carry such a small kit on this past trip. I've never done anything like that before, and again, it was great for my back. I would use the XT4 for the video I like the 10 bit because you see a difference in quality. I also shoot a lot of slow motion stuff, so I would like that 4K 60 for that extra crispy detail. And if you have the budget for both and you don't care about the video spec, get the XS10. It's a stripped down version of the XT4 for a very great price. If you are new to photography and you might want to dabble in video in the future, get the XS10. It has enough to get you guys started. I think it may have too much to get you started, in fact, but then again, that's what makes this camera such a great value. If you require the weather sealing, the dual card slots, and the video specs, then I would suggest the XT4. Alrighty guys, that is it for me. I'm sure I'm probably missing some stuff with this comparison, but these are some points that does stand out for me. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments below. And I hope this video helps you. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at Iamtongue. This is where you're going to see more of my portrait stuff. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, so join the 2K squad, help a brother out, join the community, join the fun, join the banter. And that is it for me, guys. Once again, my name is Tongue, and I'll see you in the next video. I love you. Okay, bye. Oh my God, I just called myself a YouTuber. What a time to be alive.